revealing how far Stone went in trying to get specific dirt on Clinton from WikiLeaks. The Journal reporting on Stone's emails with radio host Randy Credico, one of the few Americans to interview Assange. Credico broke his silence about all this in an interview on The Beat, alleging Stone was a liar. And given these new reports that impact Stone's role in the Mueller probe, Randy Credico is back with me tonight. Now, whatever one thinks of the players in this drama, here's why it matters. The new emails may shed light on where Mueller's headed, tackling the question of whether Roger Stone just hyped his WikiLeaks contacts but never came close to a crime, or whether Stone ever took actions that could implicate him in an election conspiracy. One of the newly leaked emails shows the two discussing a future batch of stolen Clinton emails and noting they could not ask Assange for, quote, favors every other day. A former Clinton aide who was hacked responding to these leaked emails with this message: "I am filled with rage." And that's not all. The leaked emails go past the campaign and into this year, showing Stone worrying that Credico was wearing a wire for Mueller. And Credico had also proclaimed he would not comply with investigators.
Hillary Clinton's two aides invoked the Fifth Amendment. Were they lying last year? So I invoked it because I do not want to sit down with that committee. I do not believe in that committee. I am not happy with Adam Schiff.
That was a big claim. But like some other witnesses who threatened not to testify, we can report tonight Credico did back down partially. He did talk to Congressman Adam Schiff's staff this Wednesday, and he joins us for his first interview since then for this exclusive. Randy Credico, thanks for being here.
Always a thrill to be in the hot seat on The Beat.
You weren't going to talk to Schiff, but you did Wednesday. Why'd you change and what'd you discuss?
Well, I ran across him at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We had a nice little exchange talking about Pasadena, where he's from and where I'm from, Pomona, actually. And he said, why don't we talk? So I said, we'll have an informal talk off the record. I'm not going to go in front of a stenographer or one of your lawyers and write everything down. So he says, fine. So they set it up. I went down there last Wednesday to have an informal, off-the-record discussion, some background stuff, because as you know, this entire affair has totally destroyed my life in so many ways.
What did they want to know?
Well, they wanted to know everything that you wanted to know. They wanted to know if I was the best. So I said, hey, look, They wanted to know about the role you played between Roger Stone and Assange. Yes, and I said, here's what I said to them. You're wasting your time chasing rainbows on Roger Stone. Stop giving him so much attention. He thrives off of this. I understand this story, but it's very misleading. The 8 emails that lead into it, Miss Halliday omitted.
Well, so, let's go into it. Let me read from some of it.
I sent you them today because I'm not ashamed of this.
So let me go into it.
Okay.
There's one that says, please ask Assange for any state or HRC email from August 10th to August 30th, with Roger Stone saying, why do we assume WikiLeaks has released everything they have? What does that say?
You're leaving out the very first email.
What does it say to you?
What does it say to me? He sent me an email about some guy by the name of Dr. Paul who met with somebody in Libya that had something to do with Hillary Clinton. I looked at it. He wanted me to put somebody on the show. I said, I'll put somebody on the show. I'll look at it. And then he says, no, you got to confirm it first. I said, well, Assange might be on my show. See if WikiLeaks, I said, look at WikiLeaks' website and see if it's there.
The reason that this is of investigative interest is whether Roger was hyping when he said that he was using you to get to Assange, or whether there was some of that going on. These emails make it look like you two are discussing specific emails at specific times from Assange.
I understand how it looks. That was my first conversation with Roger Stone about Julian Assange, and it came, when did it come? Like, September 18th or something like that, right?
September 18th, 2016.
Yes, the previous 3 months we had no discussion on Julian Assange or WikiLeaks.
So you maintain, I just want to be clear, and you just spoke to Adam Schiff's people, you still maintain that Roger was hyping or lying when he said you were the intermediary?
Yes, because
okay, now let's go to part 2. Now we're going to part 2. Hold on.
He wanted me to get this to Julian Assange.
So we're going to part 2, which is what people do during an investigation, which, as we've noted on this program, can be stressful. I'm going to read here.
Not stressed at all. I feel great.
You feel good. Good. I'm going to read to you.
Is safe. Here.
I'm going to read to you something that Roger Stone allegedly said to you. Quote, I'm going to take that dog away from you. Nothing you can do about it. I'm paraphrasing. I will prove to the world you're a liar. Is Stone, in your view, trying to threaten you so you will change your account of his activities in 2016?
I think he didn't like me being on your show the first time. Why didn't he put that email? He's the one who sent that email, by the way, to Halliday. I sent the previous 8 emails emails. He's afraid I'm going to unload on him.
Why is he, let me ask you this, why is he bringing your dog, who we have on the screen, why is he bringing your dog into this?
Because he's a sick man. He is delusional.
Let me bring in Attorney Maya Wiley, who often joins us for this part of our program, the witness discussion part. And Maya, take a listen to Roger Stone, who said something very unusual, even for him and for anyone in this situation, on Meet the Press this Sunday. Take a listen.
It is not inconceivable now that Mr. Mueller and his team may seek to conjure up some extraneous crime pertaining to my business, or maybe not even pertaining to the 2016 election.
How do you make sense of what Roger Stone is doing and saying, and what Mr. Credico alleges today after having spoke to House investigators, which is that he believes Stone is trying to pressure him?
Well, I certainly think if Stone's threatening to steal his dog, that's obviously some form of communication of aggression.
Yes.
I think it's very clear that Roger Stone has made several statements that seem to be contradicted by the emails that he sent, and that may get him in trouble in terms of perjury. For instance, he has said publicly that he didn't have advanced knowledge of the hacks. Then we have Sam Nunberg and another unnamed source saying he did. But then he also constantly stated that he was only trying to confirm the existence of emails, not that he, and never suggested that he was specifically seeking specific types of emails. And what this exchange seems to indicate is that he actually was looking for particular information.
So you're saying, from an investigative view, the particularity that is revealed here could be bad for Stone?
Correct. And add to that, remember that Donald Trump, during the campaign, was saying that he did not support the attacks in Libya and going after Muammar Gaddafi. And Hillary Clinton said, that's a lie, you made these statements. But there was a tug of war going on about the position of Hillary Clinton in Libya. And then we have this period in which he's actually trying to seek emails related to Libya from a particular period of time in August 2011. So you have to wonder, are there conversations happening?
What else is filling out that picture?
Exactly. Yeah. Why is he looking for that?
I want to ask another thing about Mr. Credico, and I mean no disrespect in this. I always try to treat everyone fairly. But Maya, what do you think of, and you'll get a chance to respond, the pattern we see of some of these individuals in the orbit who are of investigative interest, or who at least the congressional committees want to speak to, and some of them initially make a big showing of saying they will not speak or comply, and then they end up doing so?
Well, look, I think it's very hard not to comply with a subpoena because you put yourself in legal jeopardy if you don't. I think they also, what initially happens is people don't want to. They say they don't want to. It's understandable. It's scary. And then at a certain point, start to see that there may be some benefit to actually cooperating rather than fighting.
Okay, the reason why I went down there, I went there for a specific reason. I went down there to ask him, if you want to get to the bottom of all this, then go to London. I had gone there with a mandate from Assange for Mr. Schiff to go over there and interview him. I got the okay from Assange for him to do that.
What? You have Julian Assange willing to speak to Adam Schiff's committee?
Yes. He told me to talk to Schiff.
When did he tell you that?
Just before I went down there. It was a secret mission. That's the reason why I went down there. I didn't go there to testify.
When? Before Wednesday?
Yes. Yes.
And why does Assange, in your view, want to speak to Adam Schiff?
Because he can clear it all up. He's ready to talk to Adam Schiff. If he wants to go over there, he's waiting for him.
This is what we do call burying the lead, because we've been speaking to you a little bit earlier today about your interview, but this is news to me. If that's the case, did Adam Schiff's people seem interested in doing that interview?
They said it's well noted. And then I gave him some general stuff. I didn't give him a lot of information, just some background on Roger Stone's character, his personality, his megalomania mindset. And I said, now forget about Stone, forget about me. Just jump to the chase and see Assange. He will see you. I got the permission.
Why?
I got the communication.
And why does Julian Assange,
I kept that quiet.
Why does Julian Assange want to do that?
Because, well, he's ready to show that there is no collusion. Me, Stone, he's willing to sit down with Schiff and be interviewed.
Does he have any other material that hasn't been released that would support his side of this?
I think so. I think that.
What kind of material would that be?
Well, I don't know, because he doesn't give up his sources. He doesn't give out information. He doesn't telegraph stuff.
He doesn't talk to a lot of people for whatever reason. Yes. He does talk to you repeatedly.
Yes, I was able. I can tell you that There's communication between me and him, and they said, let's go with this. I asked Schiff, his staff, and they said it's noted, and we'll see what happens.
Did you tell Roger Stone that Assange is willing to talk to Adam Schiff?
No, I didn't tell.
So you guys are not coordinating?
We are not talking at all, Roger Stone and I. We really are not. He has that thing about my dog is mild to the kind of harassment I've received from Roger Stone over the last couple of weeks.
Maya Wiley, what do you make of this additional statement by Mr. Credico that Assange now is claiming he would be willing to speak to Adam Schiff's investigators?
I'm shocked, because I can't imagine Julian Assange, who actually has remember that he is in the embassy, the Ecuadorian embassy, because he's worried about extradition. Mm-hmm. He's now been being pressured out of the embassy. They disconnected him from the internet. This is something that has been of concern to him, being forced to leave. He does not want to be extradited to the United States. And if, in fact, there's an investigation around a conspiracy to defraud the United States, Julian Assange may well be considered a co-conspirator, or at least a target.
Potentially, right. It would seem to be adverse to his interest, and he seems to be very, very thoughtful about a lot of these issues. That is to say, he understands how it works. My last question to you then is it possible that he is just trolling you? And
No. I have very solid communications, and he and people around him want to set this up, and it's been put on the plate, and it's up to Mr. Schiff. If he's serious, he will go. Well, he's got the credibility. If Nixon went to China, if the president is going to meet with the North Korean president, certainly Schiff has the credibility and the chops to go over there and meet with Mr. Assange.
Well, Mr. Credico, you know
breaking news story.
You know people who know people, and you could have been anywhere in the world tonight, and you're here with us, and we appreciate that.
I broke it on your show, okay?
Maya, as well. Thanks to both of you. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.
For 6 years, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has lived in the Ecuadorian embassy in London. Initially, only the internet kept him connected to the outside world, but since 2016, that has been taken from him. A man like Assange has a lot of enemies, of course, but also friends, and one of his closest is actress and model Pamela Anderson. She has called Assange a hero. She says she now fears for his safety as he has been increasingly cut off from the outside world. Pamela Anderson joins us tonight. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Hi, how are you?
Really well, thanks. The obvious question I can't resist asking, how do you know Julian Assange?
I know, it's kind of a funny pairing, but I met him through Vivienne Westwood. Vivienne Westwood is a dear friend of mine, and she's a great supporter of his, and she knew that I would love his cause, and she thought I'd be great to meet him, and just, and we get along great. I see him a lot. I've known him for many years now, and he's a great testament to the human spirit to be in a situation that he's in and to have the fight that he has in him and the sense of humor. I mean, he's really an incredible person.
So it raises an interesting question. Given what you just said, why has he received almost no support from the entertainment world in Hollywood, for example?
Well, I think those are big Clinton supporters, and people have misunderstood that his intention was not to get Trump elected. It was to give true information so people could make educated decisions about the person they wanted to vote for. So people want to blame somebody, and so they blame him. Yes, I get a lot of flack for it too when I'm in Hollywood.
So the idea is, if you support Assange, you're somehow against Hillary Clinton.
In some cases.
Huh.
Yeah.
Now, you also know Vladimir Putin. Do you believe, remarkably, impressively, what do you make of the allegation that Assange and Putin were working together to expose Hillary's emails?
It's crazy. It's a crazy. Everyone likes to blame Russia when anything goes wrong in America. And I've spoken at the Kremlin many times, and the last time I was there, there was something happening, and the first thing they say to me, so what have we done wrong this time? It's kind of a common joke that America likes to blame them for everything. So, I was with Julian before the election, and he had no idea. He really did not think that Trump was going to win the election. But it turned out the way it did. Some people are happy.
So you're speaking at the Kremlin, you're hanging with Julian Assange, the Ecuadorian embassy in London. Did you ever ask yourself, how did I get here exactly? Is this the life path that you planned?
Well, it says, well, I'm an animal activist. I've been, I've been an activist for animals since I was young, and then I spoke about the environment. I spoke about a green economy in Vladivostok. They invited me to the Kremlin. They loved the way I was speaking, and I touched a lot of people, and so they really wanted me to continue my my work in Russia, and that was just a coincidence. I'm on the Russian Council of IFA, which is the International Federation of Animal Welfare, and pardon me. Oh, and so it just is a coincidence that I know all these kind of crazy, wild, intelligent, interesting people.
So I know that you live in France now.
Yes.
But when you go back, but I think you have a home in L.A., Malibu. When you go back there and you say, I was just over at the Kremlin talking to Vladimir Putin. What kind of response do you get?
Well, a lot of people are really happy about it because he's made a lot of great improvements in my situation where I wanted him to stop importing seal products to Russia, and that pretty much stopped the seal hunt in Canada, and that was my goal initially. And then to talk about all sorts of environmental issues, animals in captivity, capturing dolphins and whales and not selling them to China, and endangered species we talk about. So I'm there speaking with the Minister of the Environment and people like that. And of course there's a lot of crossover because I have a lot of causes I believe in, and I believe in just justice for all. And Assange is just an incredible person. If you read anything his mother says about him, that's a kind of an interesting source to go to. He's always been like this since a child. He's wanted to he's been worried about doing the right thing, and I think he's very brave, and he's really in deep trouble, I think, for his health. And he's never been into sunlight. He's never been in the sunlight for 6 years. That's already harmful, and now he's been cut off. No internet, no phone calls, no visitors, and they're trying to squeeze him, I think, out of there, and one of his only choices pretty soon is probably to leave the embassy, and he'll be arrested, then deported to America, which I don't think is going to be favorable for him.
I don't even know what I think of any of this, but I think it's an amazing and fascinating story, and I'm grateful that you shared it on our show. No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.